So, let's see what we have here. My God! Someone really did a number on... Oh! They ripped open her entire... There must have been buckets of blood. Jesus Christ. The place they found her must look like a slaughterhouse. Her lips are bloody, but if he killed her for blabbing, I reckon he'd have cut out. These are more like chops than cuts. Somebody must have taken a sword to it, but it couldn't have been a long sword. That would have been clumsy. God, that madman cut off both. What did he do with it all? Did he really keep all the pieces? Her face is a little bruised and cut, but she has a dark ring around her neck. Was she strangled? And her hair is all matted with blood and hacked off. Maybe there's something more to it. What if the... Just some scratches and the killer probably surprised her. So, the murderer must have awfully... Then he took a short sword or saber and started hacking at. He also cut off most of her hair. He cut off her breasts, but left her tongue. Then left her lying there for all to... Only if it was a warning for telltales, he would have cut out her tongue or something. I don't know why he killed her, but I don't think... You must be the local...
That's right. At least them that can speak. Greetings, Henry.
That dead girl you have in the morgue.
You've seen her? Poor thing.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
She's gone to meet her maker. You want to take away a piece of her? Well, you can't.
I don't want to take anything.
Like what exactly?
Who killed her?
Why?
Someone killed the poor girl.
Well, what do you plan on doing?
Find out who did it and bring...
Well, if that's the way it is, and you... It's true that Lumiere ain't shown no interest in her yet.
Who's this Lumiere?
No.
Help? How?
Well...
Right. You said she wasn't the first.
Aye. We had a couple of similar cases.
And who is this Lumiere?
He used to work for the local bailiff. I think he knew the...
Do you remember how many girls were killed?
You mean you don't know nothing about it? Here, even the sparrow...
I haven't been in Kuttenberg for...
I see. There's been one every few weeks.
Do you know where the last one got?
I heard some talk about it when they brought her here.
Look for clues. Footprints.
That can help you.
That's worth a try.
I heard she was killed by the
Thanks. What's this Lumiere got to do with this?
Well, like I told you, he used to work for...
A scribe keeps records in the Black Chronicle. Though I've never heard of one doing his own...
Well, the old bailiff was... But Lumiere, he was quite helpful. Folk...
I'd like to speak with Lumiere.
At his home in Bohemia Street. That's near the church. I don't know exactly why, though.
Thanks.
It's my pleasure. It's actually... Speaking of the living, there's a girl what comes here and grieves over that dead. I think her name is Barbara.
And do you know where I could find...
She said she serves in one of the burgers' houses. So either there or...
Thanks again, Matt.
Take care, sir.
Are you Barbara?
Alice. She was almost like... Why'd you ask?
I'm trying to find out who did this to her. I'm afraid the killer might want to...
Ah.
Who did you serve?
Our master is a local merchant.
How did Alice get along with...
Fine. Our master is a bit strict.
What's his name?
Why? But you can't see him anyway.
It occurred to me that maybe he...
He couldn't. He was gone when it... And besides, why would he kill them others too?
I heard about that.
Well, if you're interested, maybe you'll catch him sober enough to talk sense.
Do you know of any suitors?
I know she was seeing someone.
I'd like to talk to him as...
But I don't know who it was. Alice said he was rich and...
And you never saw him?
No, Never.
Do you know what exactly happened to her?
No. One day, she just didn't come home.
It's awful what they...
She was such a pretty... And it didn't even... Who could have cut off her hair like that?
So...
At your... You silly doggy. At your service, sir.
This is the place. There's a lot of blood. I'm not sure how much more I'll be able to find. Christ, that's a lot of blood. But after seeing what they did to the girl, I'm not sure I'll be able to find any remains. I can't make anything out of this. The whole town's been walking around here. I'm surprised I haven't completely trampled out the blood. It's hard to make out, but I think I see some slash. So, there's still a lot of blood left. I found some faint blade marks. Either the others were... It didn't look to me like any remains were left lying around. Free!
Careful.
Lumiere?
Oh. Christ, my head.
I need to ask you something.
I said not so loud.
That's some hangover, unless I'm willing to wait for him to sleep it off. This should sober him. Here. Better?
What? Who?
My name is Henry.
And what do you want from...
I'm trying to find out who killed a certain girl.
To me? What for?
Are you Lumiere from the Rat House?
I used to be. Now I'm just...
They say that about you.
Because I was just on some wild goose chase. And what came of it?
But I need your help.
If I were you, lad, I'd leave it be. You'll just end up hurting your
Come now, Lumiere.
poor girls. We let it be in the end? No way.
I'm not doing it for myself.
A friend, eh? I searched high and low. What makes you think you can find out?
Because I'm stubborn. And I don't have any other choice.
You think that will suffice?
If not, I'd have been dead long ago.
Who was this dead girl?
Her name was Alice. She worked as a maid.
A maid? That fits. Yarka was a maid too. As were most of the other...
I think that he strangled her first, and then went at her with a lot.
Did you notice the strangulation right away?
Do you think it's the same murder?
Counting your girl, that makes 6 victims. If it's not all the same person,
This is the 6th one.
probably about a year now. Sometimes it takes him months. Sometimes weeks.
Why are you counting the missing girls?
Because I think someone killed them, and we just haven't found them yet.
Did the dead girls have anything in common?
Aside from being pretty young girls with no proper family or background.
Do you think somebody is killing them because they're poor, and nobody will miss them?
Certainly. If somebody killed the daughter of a...
But why does he even kill him?
I don't know. Maybe he hates women. Damn it.
What can you tell me about...
She wasn't the first. But thanks to her, people started... She was a maid in a German family. She was orphaned as a child. The priest from the Church of St. Peter and Paul, Father Prokop, raised her. They found her body tossed behind a barn at the edge of town.
Did you have any suspects?
At first, I thought the son from that family did it. But then I changed my mind.
Why?
Well, for one, I remembered the 2 girls before her. Besides that, when I talked to the lad, he seemed he wasn't... And his mother told me that they threw her out a week before the murder because she was a harlot who stayed out till all... That really surprised me. Because Father Prokop had... Maybe he just didn't want to admit what had become of...
What about Stanya?
She was an alehouse wench in a tavern of ill repute called the...
You said her body was never found. Maybe she...
You have no idea how much I'd like to believe that. Unfortunately, the investigation wasn't very successful. The whole is a...
Did you suspect anybody?
You could suspect every second man there. Those people have nothing but... The innkeeper, Mole, definitely knew Stanya, since she worked for him.
So if I want to learn anything more, I have to ask this mole?
Yeah.
And what about that Zdena? You said her body was...
Exactly. But to tell the truth, nobody spent much... Besides Alice, Zdena was the most recent victim. It's only been a...
But if her body was never found...
Because she was the same type as the other girls. Young, beautiful. A real... I never could pin it on her, though.
Maybe she robbed the wrong people.
Maybe. She had a partner in crime by the name of... When I asked him about Zdena, he told me he'd rather rip his own...
Do you think he'd be more forthcoming with...
He might be. You're not known all over town like a catchpole. It's worth a try. Besides, it might still be fresh in his...
And what about the other 2 victims?
It all started with them, though nobody did much about it at the time. The first... She'd only been in town for a short while, but the other one, Libushka, she was from Loretz. She said she was really cheerful and outgoing. She knew she was pretty and knew she could do better than...
You mean she wanted someone higher up?
That's what it sounded like. But her mother never found out who she had around.
Interesting. I'll try...
In the graveyard, lad. It's sad to say, but we can't help those 2 dead girls now. There's nobody else left who could tell us anything about...
Why were you looking into it?
I don't know what people told you about me, but for many long... Gutenberg is a big city with a lot of people. The bailiff was always running from hell to Hades.
But there are more than just rich burg...
Exactly. There are common folk, too. There's a lot... So when one of them came to the bailiff's one time, and the bailiff was running around...
Behind the bailiff's back?
Not really. Andreas supported my...
What happened?
I don't want to talk about it.
Did you have any suspects?
You can always find some suspects. I always drag the most suspicious ones to the body in the morgue.
Couldn't it have just been an act?
Fainting? Vomiting? That's hard to act.
Can you sum it all up for me?
We have 6 victims here, and I believe they were all murdered by the... Unfortunately, we only know a little about the last 4. Of the remaining 4, the first to be killed was the maidservant, Yarka. She was raised... The next were Stanya and Zdena. Their bodies weren't found. They both hung around a tavern they called the Hole in the Wall, and the last victim is Alice now. What they all have in common is that...
Good.
When you learn something more, you've aroused a bit of hope in me, lad.
Careful.
No, I don't care for gossip.
Well, nor do I.
So I
this
searched
isn't-
the house high and I'm not interested.
But this is about money.
What? Go on then.
He wants to fleece us. You're always welcome.
No, I just want to be sure nobody finds out. You never know.
Take care. Best of luck.
Aye. Farewell.
Good day to you.
Father,
I don't have time for theological...
that's not why I'm here. My name's Henry. Someone killed and gutted a young maidservant.
Another one murdered. May the... Why is it you are...
I fear for my sister.
Yes. Fear for those close...
One of the other victims was a girl named Yarka. What can you tell me about her?
About Yarka. She was an ordinary...
Where did you know Yarka from?
I knew her since she was a little girl.
And?
I was her uncle.
Who do you think killed her?
William, that pig of Satan. He gambles in the tavern on All Saints. Yarka always went...
Why do you think it was William?
Evidence? He's a skirt chaser, a tool of Satan.
And does anyone else come to mind?
No.
You raised her? A priest with a child?
Yes. Unfortunately, I'm...
No offense, but how did you know what to do?
I was a bit, maybe...
How does that even...
When she was small, I could.
Why do you think you were too hard on...
Yarko was an orphan. Her only chance of a good life, but the more
You're well off, though.
I couldn't. Even if she...
But how come?
The church's property.
How did she rebel against you?
She wouldn't listen. She ran away.
Disgrace!
She was pregnant! Even if she had lived, what then?
Why don't you respect Luke?
That's my business. I won't tell you.
Come now. I'm not just asking out of curiosity. Isn't it written in scripture? Speak up for those...
A layman quotes the Bible. Lumir accused me.
What?
Yes.
And...
It turned out he was deranged. How could he even... He's finished in...
I've heard enough, Father.
Son, I'll give you...
I would like to atone for my...
I appreciate your efforts.
There's always some...
In Bohuniovitz, there is a pray to her.
What penance do you...
Bless yourself.
It's time to go.
Till we meet again.
Are you Sternad?
Who the fuck are you?
Just an ordinary bloke.
Well then piss off. All you're gonna get here.
Why so rash? Let's make a deal. You tell me everything you know about Zdena.
Ah. You're the lord what that whore robbed.
So, if I understand correctly,
For the right price,
is this the right...
you fucking betted it.
What can you tell me about Zdena?
What do you want to hear? I try to keep her out.
So you were taking care of her?
Well, just in front of the others. Other than that,
So you weren't too fond of her?
not really, no.
Where can I find Zdena?
Aye. That's what I like to fucking know too.
Yeah. Well,
I can well imagine. Well, she went to Ravstein Mill. She had some unfinished business with some bloke called Pine.
did she have any friends or lovers who'd know more? Did anybody...
Who come to see that bitch? She was always...
Someone came to see her?
Well, aye. Some stuffed frock came here. He said he had some job for her. But he left empty-handed.
Do you know who that priest was?
Some fucking Prokop. But that reminds me. I saw her a couple of times with another bastard. That fucking...
What do you know about this...
Not much. Seems they knew each other from before, but she weren't stupid.
And did he go?
Aye, indeed. He didn't look like the kind of fella that had not... I think he just told her if she changed her mind to come...
And could she have changed her mind and gone to him? And that's...
No.
And could she have run away with this bard, William?
With that lily-livered fuck... Well, he ain't been seen in town for... He still don't come here no more. He plucks that loot of his in the...
I've heard enough.
I could eat.
Greetings. What do you need?
Did Estanya work here?
Stanya. It depends on who's up.
My name's Henry.
Names don't interest me. What kind of guest?
What does it matter?
Kindly leave it up to me. So, I'll ask you again.
A bad guest.
So that means I don't tell nothing to...
You really don't know what this is all about. This person might almost think you're making my job hard.
Me? Making your job, I'll tell you everything.
I
Don't...
want to know if Stanya worked here.
She did. And she don't know more.
I heard she disappeared without a trace. So I'm trying to find...
It's possible. The chamber she was sleeping in here was the door open. Everything emptied out.
Did anybody see what actually happened when Stanya
No, it was at night. The tavern tends to be empty at that hour.
What was Stanya like?
A bold woman. One has to be here. Everyone's ballsy here. She was hanging around a bard for a while.
Someone from the city?
No, a charcoal burner. I heard he was from somewhere. I think his name was...
What do you know about that bard?
What about him? He's a minstrel, a skirt chaser. He called himself William. As far as I know, he plays in...
You think he might have been...
Now that you mention it, he cleared... I know he met with some odd people and talked about God knows what. Besides, you know what minstrels are like. Lasses just flock to them. And like they say...
Or in this case, a murderer. Apart from those men, did anyone else know Stanya? I mean...
Well, I got bad news for you. She had two close friends.
Why?
One was hit by a cart, even before and the other one got married and moved away.
How did Stanya's room...
The door was wide open.
Blood? Was there...
Not so much, really. If someone done her in, they definitely...
Where can I find this?
I already told you.
Could you be a bit more precise?
I don't know that bloke at all, so if I was you, I'd look somewhere around the chart.
That's all I need to know.
Why is this all sticky? It's filthy again. Damn it.
The woods are so full of mushrooms, you nearly trip over.
There. It looks better already.
Let it freeze before St. Mark's.
Excuse me.
It's filth. I apologize. I don't think so.
Are you going to do laundry today?
Aye, aye.
Christ, so much to do.
What the hell is this?
Quiet there!
Why is it over my name? What are you going to do about it?
You don't have the coin. All right, bastard. Come on, then. You're a dead man.
It's William, right?
What is it? Do we know each other?
My name's Henry. And no, we don't know. We have a lot of mutual...
What? I don't have to talk to you.
Well, you don't have to, that's true. If you don't start giving me some answers right now, because I'll break all your fingers, and you'll never play the lute again, you...
What? No!
Stop whining and talk, or I'll...
Come on. Ask away.
Did you know Alice?
I know a lot of Alice's.
The one they found dead somewhere below the town walls.
Oh, her. I didn't know her, but I heard about it.
I heard she used to go to dances.
Yeah, and? I'm not...
They say she had a rich young suitor.
Me? Do I look rich to you?
But you could at least pass yourself off as well.
Or I could claim to be the Virgin Mary, but...
And did you ever meet Yarka? It was a long time ago, but I heard she used to hang around you a lot.
Oh, that one. Aye, she was...
Because somebody killed her.
I know what happened was a tragedy, but it wasn't my fault.
And did you know she was pregnant?
What? That's horrible.
That's what I'd like to find out. What about the
What? Mine?
And can you tell me anything else about it?
I don't know anything. It was a...
And I hear you knew Stanya.
Which one do you mean?
The alehouse wench from the hole. I heard you had some...
Well, she batted her eyes at me a couple of times when I was still...
And the innkeeper Mole told me a different story.
Fine. We had a bit of fun together.
And aren't you just saying that because she left you?
Oh, come on. I could have any woman. The innkeeper must have got it mixed up. If I was you, I wouldn't take him.
And what about Zdena?
Do I know Zdena? As wild as the wind and...
Did she steal something?
A travelling minstrel doesn't have much to steal, but she was well aware of that.
You don't happen to know who she was?
There were lots. Anyone she thought was rich enough who let her ply, like young von Groller. When he started coming here, she got him right. As far as I know, she didn't succeed. If she robbed a noble like... Look, why are you asking me about... You don't seriously think I killed...
Well, you did know them all.
And? I'm surely not the only one.
That may be true. But everybody knows. And now...
But I had nothing to do with it!
So you didn't do anything to them?
No! Why would I? What would I get out of it?
You dare invoke God?
I admit, I'm no saint, but for Christ's sake,
Good. But if any clue leads me back here to you...
You won't hear about me again, I swear.
Huh? What's that? Hey, Henry, over here.
What is it you want?
You must be Henry.
Yes, I am.
I've got a message from Master Chenyak for you. Go and see...
What does he want?
Oh, I don't know.
Come here.
Quick!
Car! Car!
Quick! Quick! Go!
Whoa!
Keep
Are you Pine?
I am.
I'm looking for his dinner.
I don't know any Stenner.
Stonehard said something different.
You're a friend of Stonehard's, are you?
God forbid. That's all I need. A friend like that.
You're right there. Stenner was all...
So you knew Denner?
I know Stenner all right. But she ain't been here. Why are you looking for her?
I'm looking for a... Back in the city, they think she's either dead or run off somewhere.
Whatever.
What can you tell me about his death?
She always had it hard. She lost her parents and...
And what about Sternard?
Sternard was her guardian angel, as she used to say. If she hadn't been thieving with him, she probably would have ended up a whore.
Uh-huh. I'm surprised she stuck with him as long as she did.
That's because... she had a hideout. That's why she'd come to me with her loot, before they taxed her on the... And the last time she was here, she said one more haul like this, and she'll be able to go wherever.
I heard she wanted to sell you some valuables.
Oh, aye. She had a good haul. No rubbish. She left it all here. I paid her a pretty sum of coin.
And what about that signet ring?
She didn't sell me the ring. She wanted to keep it.
Do you know what kind of luck she meant?
No. I didn't recognize that signet. But all the while...
Where did she go next from here?
That she did. She also had a feeling someone was following her.
Someone followed her on a horse from Cook.
She didn't. At first, she thought it was some wealthy lord out for a ride. But he held back. Never passed by her and...
And did you see him?
No. But Stenner thought she even left her scarf here and paid some girl to walk around with it to make...
And then where'd she go?
She wanted to go the back way. Through the woods. Past the woods is a road and a ford across a stream. Next to it is a huge boulder.
Well, if it leads back to the road and there was really someone following her, I reckon if they saw she was...
Fuck! That's quite... I made a point of looking, but I didn't see any riders that...
Is Denner's scarf?
Aye. I wanted to give it back to her the next...
Will you give it to me? I'll try having my dog track her down.
All the same to me. Here you go.
And could it have been Father Prokop following her?
What do I know? If he has a horse and fancy clothes...
I heard he wanted to find her an honest job. But she was...
I don't know.
And could it have been William?
And who would that be?
He's this bard she was seeing.
I don't know about that. I don't remember her mentioning that.
Well, I'll go and check out that...
I hope you don't. Farewell.
Truck!
That has to be that ford Pint was talking about. I should take a look around here.
Search.
What's more then?
Good boy. Good boy.
This must be that basket of silver Denna was carrying with her. She wouldn't have just left that here. But where did it come from? Maybe it rolled down the hill? Poor thing. Ugh. She's been lying here a long time. At first glance, this body isn't as mutilated. Unfortunately, I can't tell if somebody... But her head is smashed in. Either the murder... She must have put up a fight. Oh, she's all stuck to her clothes. The rips are odd. Like someone was looking for... Oh, I can't make much out by now. Did the murderer torture her? Or was he... Oh, my God. How did it get inside her? Was she trying to hide it? Or was it punishment? Well, that's enough. I'd say she put up a decent fight, and the killer had to improvise, and that's about all I can find out. But that ring is a good lead.
Go! Die! Go! Die! Die!
Whoa! Whoa!
You're always welcome here, sir.
I'm looking for someone named...
You're in a charcoal camp, fella. What would...
But you know Stanya.
Aye. You could say that. Why?
I'm looking for the killer of a girl in town.
That's true. She told me something like...
So you don't know what became of her?
I really don't know, mate. But even if I did know, how can I be sure...
I wouldn't be foolishly asking around for her then, would I?
Why not? How else would you find her?
Without getting seen by any witnesses.
What do you mean? What witnesses?
I mean you. If I tried anything, you'd...
Well, aye, that...
I really only want to talk to her.
Sorry, but after all that happened to Stanya, I like to be careful.
So Stanya is here?
Aye. She's hiding with us. Since that thing...
Can I speak to her?
If it'll help you. She's hiding in that cottage. But be nice to her. She's in a... Till we meet again.
Who are you? How did you find... If you came here, I'm not afraid...
Don't be afraid.
Barton sent you to me. What do you want from me?
Lumir thought you were dead. I was supposed to find...
Lumir? From the rat house?
Exactly. Someone killed a girl in Kuttenberg, so maybe you could help us find out...
How can I help you when I haven't been in Kuttenberg?
You disappeared from the hole in the wall without saying goodbye.
Someone attacked me when I was coming home from the baths one night. I managed to get away, but I was so afraid.
Did you see who it was?
Not at all. I didn't see anything until he jumped out of the shadows and he was terribly strong.
And how did you manage to break free?
I had an empty pitcher in my hand and I hit him with it. He howled and
Here?
No, first to my room in the hole. I was so scared there. I took what I could.
And your lover? What did he say?
At first he was horrified because I had cut myself on a... He's been hiding me here since then.
What was it like working at...
Well, I earned a few groschen.
How so?
Every single day I had to put up with their lewd remarks. People... Well, us girls have to watch out, especially in a place like... But you can't overdo it either.
How so?
Because if you smile at them nicely, you have to keep a balance.
You said that rich or poor, they all like to grope.
Truth be told, the hole isn't exactly a good place for a...
Is that so?
He smiled at me a lot, so I smiled back. But then this thieving wench started hanging around him, but that servant of his didn't like it. Tried to drive her away.
Von Grolla had a servant?
Aye, a pudgy fella. Well, he never said a word or smiled.
You walked home from the baths?
What's so odd about that?
Well...
Right. I always brought the girls a pitcher of wine or ale, and to...
Aha. So that's why you had the...
Right.
The same way every time?
Aye, always the same way. The shortest way.
And who knew that you went by yourself?
Well, everyone from the tavern.
Why didn't you go back to the hole?
Just to get murdered there. I'm never going back there.
How are you now?
I'm still awful, and I can't even really...
Do you remember anything important about the attacker?
I don't know anything. It was at night.
And what about when you hit him?
He let me go.
Aha. And what...
He said Scheisse. In German.
Seems you're the only one to survive. I know it isn't easy for you to think about it. Or when you were running away. Anything can help.
I don't know. It's all like...
You were walking down the street.
No, nothing.
You didn't see anything or hear anything?
Actually, I knew the side street wasn't empty. I heard somebody talking. But when I looked, there was nobody there.
Did you understand what they were talking about?
Not at all. But there were two voices.
It's difficult, I understand. Aside from those voices and the empty
I didn't hear him at all.
And nothing else?
Well, no. Just for a moment. but I still had a big bruise round my neck. Barton said the man must have had a terribly strong grip.
Couldn't it have been that innkeeper then?
Aye, when he drinks, he turns into a total bastard. Only when I got to my room, I could hear him.
Couldn't it have been Father...
Father Prokop?
No, he's pretty old. He preaches in the church of...
I don't know him, and if he's an old man...
I heard William liked pretending to be a...
Aye, I thought it pretty silly. Though, I reckon he's more likely to attract an arse-kicking than...
I reckon...
I'm sorry I'm not able...
Oh, you don't need to apologise.
Thank you.
If it's in my power.
When you catch that bastard, would you please let me know?
I'll stop by if I can.
See you soon, my friend. Can I help you?
May God...
I found out some interesting things about those...
That's wonderful news. I promised Catherine we'd wait for her.
You know Catherine?
She came to see me soon after you did.
Will you send for her? So, we're all here.
I hope nobody else shows up.
I reckon I've found out all I can.
And do you know who the murderer...
Not exactly, but I have a few ideas.
I've asked around a bit and...
Is that so? See, I was trying to recall some more details.
I didn't do all this for nothing, did I?
Well,
Catherine, who do you suspect?
Well, I think it was that priest.
That's nonsense.
Couldn't have. Then who do you...
It had to be William. Nobody else knew them all.
God, now you're talking nonsense.
So I see we disagree.
Well, who do you think it was then?
I'm not entirely sure. First, I'll tell you what I found out.
Go on then. Starting with who?
Let's talk about Yarka. The one raised by...
What did you learn about her?
Prokop didn't just raise her out of the goodness of his heart.
Really? But he...
His own relative?
Why not? He's a priest. I'm sure he knows the story.
Prokop also admitted that he didn't know how to handle her. And perhaps he was...
What do you expect from a Bible thumper? Man punishes, and God...
Well, maybe I wouldn't hold it against him. He really tried to make sure she was well taken.
And did you learn who he found?
No. I think it fell apart when Yarka started working for the von Groller family.
I was there to ask whether she'd given them any trouble.
Ah, so what's the story?
A very wealthy and important... The mother is quite devout. Known to spend a lot of time in prayer.
So, who...
That would be young Hendel.
Before her death, I heard she often went to dancing.
There's nothing wrong or surprising about that.
Maybe. Prokop was convinced that she went to see William.
That doesn't mean anything.
It means she had some relationship.
And now, most importantly,
I didn't know that.
to make it impossible to tell she was pregnant.
May God forgive us.
Do you know who she was pregnant with? Because if we know...
She didn't tell Prokop.
It had to be someone from those...
Prokop is convinced that she was murdered.
I heard the daughters of important men come to see him. It even went so far he had to flee.
Really? But I found out you accused Prokop first.
What? Why?
It doesn't matter.
And were you as sure then as you are now about William?
I don't think so. But he's a skirt chaser. If he got Yark...
Perhaps. But why would he kill and mutilate her?
But then he could never come back.
Why not? He could come back a year later, once things have died down, the child would be born, the shame forgotten, and nobody would bring it up again.
Well, that's all I was able to find.
You still found out more than I...
But it's not enough.
But we can agree that she was killed because of her pregnancy.
Agreed. Somebody got rid of her to...
I'm sure William wanted...
William isn't the only man with a prick. And he certainly didn't use it to...
Such language.
That William isn't the only man in the city.
I'm not saying it couldn't have been him. Though I don't...
I suppose you're right.